How the thieves stopped the Fulani Jihad and saved the southern Nigeria from conquest. They conquered the north. They swept through Hausa land, swallowed Nupe, and even reached the gates of Yoruba land. But when the Fulani Jihad tried to cross the Benue River, something unexpected happened. The people stood up, fierce, united and unstoppable. The thief warriors of Benue. This is the untold story of how the thief stopped Usman and Fodio's dream of conquering the south, and how that single stand changed the destiny of Nigeria forever. Before the jihad began, northern Nigeria was a region of ancient Hausa kingdom, powerful, wealthy, but divided. Corruption, slavery and heavy taxation had weakened the rulers. Into that chaos rose a Fulani scholar and preacher, Usman dan Fodio, who called for a return to pure Islam. In 1804, his sermon became a sword. What began as reform turned into revolution, a holy war that changed the face of West Africa. City after city fell. Kano, Katsina, Zaria, Gobi, Kebbi. Within just a few years, the Sokoto Caliphate rose as one of Africa's largest empires, stretching from today's Niger Republic deep into Nigeria's middle belt. But the Fulani expansion didn't stop there. From the north, their horsemen charged south, crossing the plains of Nupe through Ilorin and deep into Yoruba territory. In Ilorin, a rebel Yoruba general named Afonja joined forces with a Fulani cleric called Alimi. At first, they fought together against the Oyo Empire, but soon, the alliance turned into betrayal. The Fulani overpowered Afonja, killed him, and declared Ilorin an emirate under Sokoto. From there, Fulani forces pushed forward, raiding Oyo, Ibadan, and Iseyin. Yet the Yoruba rallied with fierce determination. Their warriors of Ibadan and Ijaye fought battle after battle until Fulani advance was finally stopped in its tracks. Having failed to dominate the Yoruba, the Caliphate turned east towards the Benue Valley, the Middle Belt, and possibly the Igbo lands beyond. This is where the story takes an incredible turn. The Fulani jihadists marched towards the Benue River, crossing through Nasarawa, Kefi, and Lafia, aiming to penetrate Tivland and Idoma territories. But they didn't expect what came next. Waiting for them were fierce warriors, men who fought not for empire, but for survival. The thief nation. The thieves were farmers, hunters, and master strategists of the savannah. They understood the land, every hill, every bend of the Benue, and they were united by a code of defense and honor. When the Fulani cavalry arrived, they met resistance so strong that even Sokoto record mentioned the Benue barrier, a point beyond which the jihad never advanced. The thief fought with arrows, spears, and spirits. They used ambush tactics, river traps, and thick forests to neutralize the Fulani horses. The jihadists, trained for desert warfare, found themselves trapped in a land of rivers, mud, and relentless defenders. They couldn't move forward, and they never did again. That stand by the thief people created a natural and historical shield that protected not only Benue, but the entire eastern and southern Nigeria from Fulani domination. To understand that victory, you must know the thief themselves, a proud ethnic group with roots tracking back centuries. The thief believes in community, courage, and firmness. Their villages were democratic. Decisions were made by elders, not kings. Every man was defender of his home. So when word spread that invaders were coming, the thieves didn't wait for others. They fought as one. Their unity became their shield, and their land their weapon. Meanwhile, far to the south, another story was unfolding. Islam was slowly reaching Edo North. Places like Auchi, Abede, and Opera, but this time not through war, but through trade. After the Fulani Jihad ended, Hausa and Nupe traders, some of Fulani descent, began to move south peacefully. They opened markets, exchanged goods, and married local women. With them came a faith, not forced, but shared. By the late 1800s, Auchi had become a thriving Muslim town. Its ruler, Otalumomo I, embraced Islam around 1894, decades after the Fulani Wars had ended. So when people say the Fulani reached Auchi or Uromi, the truth is they arrived not with swords, but with prayer mats and trade goods. Pause and imagine if the thief had not stood their ground. If Benue had fallen, the Fulani Jihad could have crossed the river into Igbo lands, the Niger Delta, and deep into the south. The cultural and religious map of Nigeria would have looked completely different today. But because a small nation refused to bow, the story of Nigeria changed forever. Islam still reached Edo and parts of the south, but peacefully, not by conquest, not by blood, but by coexistence. This is the history our schools rarely teach, a history of resistance, identity and survival. The thief people of Benue didn't just defend their homeland, they defended the diversity that defines Nigeria today. Their courage shows that nations are not only built by those who win wars, but also by those who stop wars from spreading. And the story of Auchi and Uromi reminds us that faith and culture can travel without violence, that trade, friendship and tolerance can achieve what empires never could. So the next time you hear about the Fulani Jihad or the rise of Islam in the south, remember the line between war and peace was drawn right there at the Benue River. History is not just what happened, it is what was prevented. And the thief people prevented the rewriting of an entire civilization. Subscribe to Chinick TV for more African stories they never told you in school.